morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for February 12th, 2013. It's currently 9:19 a.m. and we have some warm air invading the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. But the temperatures this morning, pretty much what we're going to see for the rest of the day as far as highs. We have temperatures in the upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior, especially over the New York City metropolitan areas, northern suburbs. Over portions of northeastern Pennsylvania, we're in the mid to upper 30s, and of course along the coast we're in the lower to mid 40s. Now notice the winds are from the west, and they're rather strong, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour, with gusts at times up to 30 miles per hour. These winds will slacken off for this afternoon, but what they're transporting is a much colder air mass that is currently over the St. Lawrence River Valley and portions of the Ohio River Valley. That would keep our temperatures pretty much where they are right now, which is basically upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior and lower to mid 40s along the coast. So what you see is pretty much what you get. And what you see also is a lot of clearing skies, so the day isn't going to be all that bad. Pretty much temperatures pretty much near to slightly above normal with dry weather conditions in place, and thankfully not as much fog as what we saw yesterday. Taking a look at the latest infrared satellite picture, you can clearly see our cold front has rapidly moved off the coast. We have a new area of low pressure starting to develop. I'll talk about that in a moment. High pressure is in control. This high pressure system will shift off towards New England over the next 24 hours, providing cool weather conditions for the region. Now notice I didn't say cold, and that's an important factor with this upcoming forecast. Here we have the latest radar, and you can see precipitation rapidly developing over the southern plains, producing periods of rain and snow over the Oklahoma metropolitan area and portions of the Red River Valley. That's always hard to say. I don't know why. But anyway, you could already see precipitation developing in this area and becoming quite heavy, in periods of snow can be expected over the Oklahoma metropolitan area. That, trust me, they don't handle snow very well. I lived out there, and the fact that it could get 3 to 6 inches of snow in Oklahoma City is creating a bit of a panic over there. Trust me, it's not pretty. Now you can also see more moisture developing over the southeast. What this is showing us is we're dealing with a very active subtropical jet stream, and this disturbance will lift off towards the northeast and produce the potential for some light to moderate snow for the Philadelphia metropolitan area and central and southern New Jersey moving forward. You can see on the water vapor satellite picture our disturbance with the subtropical jet stream is rapidly developing and organizing rather nicely. You can see the development of lifting here, especially right around the northeastern and northern portion of this upper level disturbance. Another thing I want you to keep an eye on: this disturbance up here, this disturbance here, and this disturbance developing here, and also this one here. Why am I pointing this out? Because there's a lot of talk of a major storm potentially developing for this weekend. There's a lot to keep an eye on here, because if everything phases just right, it could produce a major winter storm. Right now, though, the models are looking more like this storm's going to form out further to the east. But I'm going to explain in just a moment why we need to be careful with that. So here we have the latest GFS model guidance. So I'm using the GFS model guidance just more for continuity than anything else. They're pretty much the same as far as the European, the GFS, the NAM. They're all pretty much in the same ballpark here. So again, for this afternoon, we're dealing with dry conditions, a nice westerly wind, and temperatures pretty much holding where they are right now. For this evening, clear skies again, temperatures bottoming out into the upper teens to mid 20s. Now keep an eye on this disturbance here. This disturbance is rapidly going to move east, and as it's doing so, it's going to bring moisture into the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area by tomorrow evening. I do think that New York City misses out here. I think that the bulk of the precipitation is going to remain just to the south of New York City, possibly clipping portions of southern Long Island and focusing more over central southern New Jersey and the Philadelphia metro. Now remember what I said about those temperatures. This air mass in place is not exactly the most impressive cold air mass, and while it looks pretty cold at the mid-levels, I do have some questions on the boundary layer temperatures. That's your surface temperatures leading to more of a wet type snowfall and definitely more of a potential for rain mixing in here, especially right along the coast. And I'll show what impact that has on our snow forecast in just a moment. This low pressure system will rapidly exit. That's another point too. So I'm looking for impact late Wednesday night, let's say around 10 p.m., continuing on through about roughly 5, maybe 6 a.m. on Thursday morning. Make it for a little bit of a tricky rush hour, but look, this is not a major storm at this point. I just don't see it being a major winter storm for the region, but more of a moderate snowfall for portions of the Philadelphia metro and central and southern New Jersey. This disturbance rapidly exits out, and then we start to keep an eye on our storm moving forward for this upcoming weekend. Now, remember what I said about the disturbances that we're going to keep an eye on. Here we are by, let's say, Friday afternoon. 1, 2, 3. Okay, those are our disturbances. 1, 2, 3. We have another one back here. So we have a lot of energy moving into this weather pattern. Now, the way that the models are handling this, and they're all pretty much in pretty good agreement up to this point, is that by the time we get to Saturday, we have one very strong elongated polar disturbance. We have our Arctic disturbance here, and here's our subtropical disturbance. Now, the polar and the subtropical disturbance have no problem interacting whatsoever. They start to basically merge and phase over here over the southeast, and we start to see an area of low pressure develop and moisture starting to develop over portions of North Carolina. But moving forward, this Arctic disturbance holds back, and that is pretty much the whole difference between a potential for a storm here. You can see we never get a true phase. We're close, and if we get a little bit closer, this could be a rather impressive winter storm for the region, but for right now, they do not phase, and as a result, you end up with a storm further out to the east. Why am I throwing a word of caution here? We're dealing with an Arctic disturbance, very poor sampling. And when we deal with an Arctic disturbance like that, we have to use some caution. We have to, don't jump the gun yet. Basically, could we see a winter storm here? Yes. Could it be a complete miss? Absolutely. Right now, what we need to do here is wait until at least Thursday evening when we get better sampling of this Arctic disturbance, and then we have a better handling on exactly whether we're going to see a phase or not. If we see a phase, this is going to be a very nasty winter storm for the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, really from North Carolina on northward to Maine. If it doesn't phase, we end up with a few scattered snow showers, a very cold weekend, but not a big deal. So that's pretty much where we're sitting right now. I don't think this is a rain threat whatsoever. It's either going to be a snow threat or it's going to be nothing at all. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, and hopefully we'll get better data as we move forward over the next couple of days on this storm threat. Thereafter, we start to move into a little bit of a moderation trend, especially for early next week, as the pattern starts to reload and this disturbance here starts to track towards the Great Lakes. We reload, reset, and get ready for another active weather pattern setting up for the end of February. Should be a rather active second half of February, that is for sure. Well, that is your forecast discussion for today. Oh, one thing, I forgot to show you the snow map, duh. Okay, so here's what I'm expecting with this little snow threat for tomorrow night into Thursday. Basically a trace to 2 inches for the northern interior. Connecticut, Hudson River Valley, northeastern Pennsylvania, trace maybe an inch. It's really not going to be all that impressive. Same thing for northern New Jersey. Right around the New York City metropolitan area, a trace to 2 inches. Again, you have a better chance of seeing snow showers, but this really isn't for you. Out towards south central Pennsylvania, again, a trace to 2 inches, not that impressive. Now, when you get to around the Philadelphia metropolitan area, this is where it gets a little bit more tricky. Looking for 2 to 4 inches over northern central New Jersey, just to north of Trenton, and just to the south of New York City, and that also clips portions of Long Island. Along the New Jersey coast, I think there's going to be a little bit more mix of rain. We're talking about 34 to 36 degrees as far as temperatures at the surface, snow in the air, possibly mixing with a little bit of rain, hard to accumulate. When you get a heavier band of snowfall moving in, that's when you'll see accumulation. The 3 to 6 inch snowfall is more because I think we're going to see temperatures right around 31 to 33 degrees. Easier to accumulate. Going to see a steady snowfall here. Most locations around 3 inches, but you could get a heavy band that pushes you up another 2 inches or so. So the potential for up to 6 inches. Southern New Jersey is very tricky. Again, we're in that 33 to 36 degree temperature range here. If I start to see colder temperatures forecasted for these locations, then I'm going to have to raise the snowfall amounts. And basically what we set up here is that this 3 to 6 inch snowfall basically drops down through southwestern New Jersey, and that 2 to 4 inch forecast drops down towards Cape May, right along the coast. Right now, I do think we're going to get enough warm air mix in here to create enough of a mix. And remember, this is a very wet snow, so there'll be snow in the air, but it'll be hard to accumulate. So looking at 1 to 2 inches right now. Again, that's subject to change if the boundary layer looks a little bit colder. So that is your forecast for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen D. Martino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.